All right, so the recording has been turned on. This is more a catch-up call. You know, I don't think we had a full call since October. Am I correct? Okay. So in the online world, there are about 4 balls that I'm spinning right now. And Dr. Thomas has been absolutely wonderful about being very direct in his directions and his charges of what he wants me working on and what direction we're headed in, and we're actually making a lot of progress. So I'm thrilled. And that is a component, some of it with quality matters, some of it with looking at how we hire and the fact that we don't want to deter our current faculty from teaching ground classes and give them that option of teaching purely online at this point. And we're looking at it to where, excuse me, that the divisions, this is how he has separated this in my mind, and maybe it will help you, is that the online division is going to be focusing on the delivery of our courses, consistency, whereas the division is going to own the content, which means master courses. Okay, we want them designed with an online component in mind. Hiring, to where you are in control of that faculty, who you hire and what courses you assign to them. And other than comparing this to a quality matters standard, I'm not messing with the content of the course, just the delivery, okay? Will there eventually be online-only faculty hired? Probably. You have the ability of hiring online faculty from out of state now, okay? Do not let the Oklahoma factor be a deterrent from that, okay? And if you want to talk to me about that, or Glenay and I both about that, we'd be happy to, because the expectations are the same as anybody else teaching online, but we would need to adjust, which, look at it this past week, we did our adjunct faculty by Zoom. So we would not have the ability to bring them on campus. And I'm talking about adjunct. We hiring full-time online faculty is still a little ball in the future. Okay, we don't need to worry about that right now. So I still have that list of questions and concerns that you guys shot me after our very first meeting a year ago. And Dr. Thomas feels like that's getting into the weeds at this point. He is looking at making sure that our online students and faculty have a pretty consistent level experience. For example, if they're taking a course in English versus taking a course in social sciences, that they're not getting a banana in one and an apple in another, okay? That the course delivery, when they move taking courses from one division to another, that the online looks relatively the same, that we don't have a faculty member going completely rogue, okay? So at that point, I'm going to pause before I get into the next part of updating you where quality matters is. Do you have any questions so far? And you may feel free to share what I am sharing with you with people that have questions. And if you need to forward those questions to me, because I know that there are still some faculty out there that are rather verklempt about, you know, and Dr. Thomas is become expert of explaining the difference between my kind of dean and what I'm doing and a division dean, okay? I'm still responsible for everything that takes place in that online class, which is scary to me because I am not managing those faculty. It is our preference at this time that as I'm moving through the courses and evaluating them, that if I find a concern, I'm going to take that to the chair and copy the dean. And if you want my intervention or my coaching or me being on a call with that faculty member to help, I'm here. But I don't want to cause any conflict of who is this person? Why are they giving me feedback? Why were they looking at my course? Who is she? Okay. I don't want to cause those kind. And you know your faculty, you know what I'm talking about, is that I can be as tactful as I can about giving feedback, but they don't know me. And it could cause you a lot of stress, a lot of concern. So right now, I'm going through the chair and going through the dean, but I'm definitely there as a support if you don't understand what I'm asking for, or you think this is going to be a particularly touchy subject with that faculty member and maybe it would sound better coming from me. I'm here, but I'm going to do that by invitation from people. Okay, so are we ready to move on to the Quality Matters updates? I am in hell. Okay. I am in the process, and I had to confess to Dr. Thomas today that I may fail my facilitator training course. I'm spending a minimum of 6 hours a day on it, and the questions are not multiple choice. The majority of them are essay. And this wonderful instructor is asking for about a 60% revision rate, wants it revised. Matter of fact, I have a remedial call with him at 5 o'clock today. So what I'm trying to do is become a facilitator so that I can facilitate that rubric workshop that many of you have suffered through, so that I can teach it here on campus. It would save the campus an enormous amount of cost. It would only be $35 a person. And we would have control over when we offer that. And I wouldn't schedule it. I mean, I feel like I almost would have to have a Zoom session to kind of set it up. Some of you that have been through it know that it's very rigorous. So the rubric training is rigorous. The peer review training is rigorous ×4. And this training is rigorous ×8. But that's what I'm working on right now so that hopefully we can do in-house training. Now, in the meantime, those people that have been trained on the rubric, I'm going to be sending them a friendly little Zoom invite because I'm going to be out there in the CLT. Have any of you been out there to their page lately? Let me see if I can bring it up and share it with you. I am so happy with what they have done. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so this means if you raise your hand, I can't see you. Okay, so you see this screen? Well, this is where I want to take you. Everybody can see this? Okay, faculty resources. Look at this. Course design, teaching, learning and support. All of these are links. Tech support, Moodle support, Zoom and Zoom room support, academic and student affairs services, helpful information and who to contact. That is for us. All right. So I am going to, right underneath here, I am going to add a Quality Matters tab for us. Okay. And what that will mean when I have this meeting with the people that have been through the Quality Matters training is I'm going to design a training page for Objective 1, an overview. All right. When I get that done, I would like that committee's criticism. This is too difficult. You need to add another link. You need to do so that if you're trying to explain this to a chair or to a faculty member, that the chairs have some place to go and faculty have some place to go when they're trying to figure out, other than the Quality Matters site, that they can see what we're trying to do here, and broken down by Objective 1 to Objective 2, all the way through the 8 objectives. So that's the other thing that's being worked on, so that Quality Matters is a little more palatable. All right. I do have the dates for the Quality Matters training for 23 at a discounted rate for us. I'm going to be inviting the invitation. So if you've been through it and you're a chair, you're going to get this invitation. Don't panic that, oh my gosh, she's sending me to another one. We're going to make it optional at this point, but it's going to be hard for a chair that is managing gateway courses to not have experienced this rubric. Okay, does that have any questions about that? Okay, so at this point, go ahead.
I'm
Ryan.
sorry, I hate to interrupt.
No.
So I'm chair of the adjuncts. I don't manage the course, Candy does. And I've gone through the training, but it's been 4 years now. And so I'm very aware that it's time intensive. What's your recommendation on that?
Dr. Thomas and Glenn and I have talked about compensation for it, and he feels strongly that it should be.
Then I'll do it 5 times. No, just kidding.
And it should be part of a chair's responsibility if they're teaching or if they're involved with a gateway course, and you are, to go through the rubric training. There again, and Mike, I know you've been through the course design one.
Yeah. Okay. So it's different.
Yeah. And I did have that moved over to our campus so that we can see it. You do get a digital badge when you complete it. But if you are a full-time faculty or a chair, you don't get additional compensation. And I feel you. Giving up 6 hours on my Saturday and giving up 6 hours on my Sunday without additional pay hurts. I'm spoiled. Okay. Haven't had homework on the weekends in a while. So I understand that. There isn't any compensation for that at this point.
Oh, that's fine. I wasn't wondering about that. I was just wondering. I just wanted your recommendation.
We're not making it mandatory, but it is strongly encouraged.
Okay. Well, since it's different, then I'll do it.
Okay. And what I'll do is I'll send you the schedule, and please pray for me if I get the opportunity to pass this course I'm doing right now. I'm going to schedule additional ones around more our school calendar. All right, so that it's more palatable for you guys. So I may offer multiple sessions during the summer when chairs aren't as busy. And yes, I know that they may not be teaching during the summer, but I guess what I'm telling you is that it'll give us the freedom to offer more than 3 a year and work more with your schedule. I mean, I'd even be willing to do just a couple of people, be easier for me. The sessions are capped at 20. Okay. So that's where we are currently with QM, and with that little team that have suffered. I guess we should have played a drinking game or something for those of you that have suffered through it. I'm not going to ask for you to do anything to design those trainings, but I would like your critique on what I'm doing, because as an instructor, what is going to help you, or you know what your faculty are going to need. And I would like that additional set of eyes. Okay. Any questions about quality matters? We do look, things are moving along. I evaluated and reviewed 15 courses during late 8. I'm going to be Comp 1. I'm going to be doing all the online sections for Comp 1 this semester. And they are in excellent shape. I'm so proud of the work that they have done over there. There are multiple people, Jennifer Fike, Liz leading the charge there, Candy, predominantly working on that master course. They're in really good shape for an official Quality Matters review next fall, this upcoming fall. And that will look really, really good. Higher Learning Commission lists that. Higher Education lists that. It'll be a nice thing to have in our catalog. So, you know, and that Comp 1 course touches, what would you say, 98% of our students. So that'll be good kudos for us to build from.
Kathy, I have a question real quickly. In those in that review of those 15 courses from late 8, what did you see as the biggest challenge or opportunity in those courses? So did we struggle specifically with, you know, tying assignments to objectives of the course or assignments to module objectives? What was the biggest challenge?
Well, we do need to make just a identifier in the to numerically put what the course objective versus the module objective is. It's a very simple thing. They have done that. They have tied all of that. There just needs to be a chart to identify it. So that is a minor. As expected, there are a couple of faculty that have been creative and not breaking rules per se, but maybe not understanding the need for consistency in the master course. But I would say that if I were to score them, they got a 96 out of 100 points. They did very, very well. The things that I identified as being issues, they were somewhat aware. And this is not a punitive process. It's a continuous improvement process. And if I were to look at the courses, they definitely meet that QM 85% mark. So that was exciting. It was very exciting. I'm not, outside of the chair and outside of the dean, I'm not going to post that information at this point because it does turn that into a punitive type thing. And I do not want to go there. Okay. They're working wonderfully with me, and heads up, Dr. Allen, I'm coming your way next, I don't think it'll be this first 8 weeks. It'll probably be second 8 weeks, and I'll meet with you and we'll discuss. I want to make sure that I get this Comp 1 close to being ready for review, because we've got to do a mock review, internal mock review first. And I don't want to get too split and then fail on that goal. So just, you're next. Don't retire until after we do this. Okay. So I promised you guys were really cool about asking. And Candy, I am going to use your late 8 course because I'm so proud of what you have done with it. So we are going to look at what we hope to see in the other courses that I evaluate. Can you guys see that landing page? Okay, so if I were to clone this for every single course, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's clean. Even Glenay brought me her course and we had changes to make. Some of you like to put dates here. We want an uncluttered foyer. This is a foyer into the home. We want a very clear start here. or do this first. Okay, so here's our start here. It has a nice graphic. They reach the announcements first. Here's the course overview. Okay, another nice little graphic. See how clean everything is, same font, no special colors. Quality Matters doesn't want you highlighting and changing font colors or anything like that. Just not, it's sort of like our APA guidelines, you know, don't fancy it. Give me 12-point Times New Roman, Arial, Courier, everything the same. Course objectives. So all they're going to need to do, these are already numbered. So this would be a CO1, a CO2, a CO3. So every assignment inside needs to align with these course objectives. Okay. Technology requirements, computer technology skills. Oh, look here. This is what I want. Here is the syllabus, scheduled by week, tips for success, netiquette, and then I get to meet Candy. I get to see her. Okay. I get to, she's done this professionally, but she's also been warm about it. Okay. Office hours, email, where our office is, and the office phone number. That student doesn't have to open the syllabus to find this information. It's there. Okay. So as a student, I don't have everything in the foyer to scare me. All right. Course text, first assignment. I'm going to step into her unit 1 because that's probably what the student is going to do. What do I have to do this week? Okay. Nice little warm fuzzy. Objectives. So when we get this aligned, this is going to out beside it have what course objective this aligns to. CO1, CO5, whatever. The student isn't going to know what that is. But a QM reviewer wants to know what it is. What the objectives are. Why are you having me do something? You know, if you're going to have me watch a movie that I don't like, why? How does it relate? So everything that the student does in Unit 1 needs to align with the lesson objectives and the course objectives. Look at this. This is not required by QM. This, how much time it's going to take. But this is required. Okay, the lessons, the listing of the lessons. What lesson 1 is. Lesson 2. Okay. And then she's put documents down here. Lesson 3. And instead of putting all of this stuff at the bottom, she's separated it. It's still overwhelming, but it's very, very organized. Okay. Questions about this? So, and then here are instructor resources that the students can't see. So they're not going to see that stuff, but I love this organization and the way that it's done. So I hope that that helps you understand what we're looking for when you're working with your faculty. If they can add another folder of stuff, if they'd like to, but instead of it all being clustered up here at the beginning, instead of listing them all out, Candy has put a plethora of resources here. Okay, but you see how convoluted it would be if this were all on the landing page. So Candy or Jennifer or Michelle, those of you that have been through the training, does this help? You see?
Yeah, I think that that's, you know, again, it's they're wanting things you have to think like a student, not like we think, because we may think it looks like it makes sense, but to a student it may not. So I think the simpler the better.
And think about the student that's taking their first online course. And Mickey gave me an example a few months back, and Mike Franco stopped me and explained what his son was experiencing. And that hit me a lot, because you got one instructor that has way overwhelming. And then you've got another instructor that you hunt and peck and get in their syllabus and still don't know who your instructor is. And then at the end of week one, you get not a hard email that says you got to turn something in now or I'm going to drop you. You know, that's not warm and fuzzy. And I think sometimes instructors assume that all students have had an online course, or because they've been at the campus a couple of years that they've had an online course. And that is an inaccurate assumption. Okay. And not all LMSs between schools are the same. They may have done Blackboard, they may have done Canvas. They're not the same. So we need to assume that this is their very first online course ever. And the goal is not to run them off. The goal is to retain them. Okay. Questions? Thoughts? Yes.
You mentioned that instructors can add another folder with their own materials. And so that's okay. Like, for example, I've got, I don't know, maybe 35 or 50 video lessons that I've recorded myself. And Candy does such a thorough job in the master course that I don't want to put them in the master course, because then I have to change all the times that everywhere in the syllabus and the course schedule and on the lesson page, how long the videos are. And I don't want to do that because it's going to take forever. So I thought about just adding another folder that just said instructor videos, and then putting them all in there. So that's fine.
Put instructor videos and put optional help, you know, and put it towards the bottom. Okay. So that, you know, when they're first stepping in, and I'm sure that master course, you know, the great resources for you, you know, you might want to share them with Candy. You even could, Candy, you correct me if I'm wrong about this. If you've got videos, you said you have several, some of them may be more aligned with course objectives. I mean, module objectives. So if you set up an instructor folder, you could divide them into modules, you know. So I know go ahead.
We have some of Mike's in our, actually in our primary courses. And they're not as cluttered as they looked there, because we got a new textbook, so everything's kind of collapsed. Part of that clutter was we had chapters and pages because students wouldn't go look for them. So they were there and accessible. It's more streamlined. But yeah, Mike has great videos, and ultimately I think, and it's several tiers out, there will be videos created by our faculty that are specific to those objectives that then will be shared. So strategy will be modified a little bit in how it's presented and those things like that.
You know, and Mike, if it weren't you, I know you've been around here long enough that I don't need to say this, but let's say it's a newer faculty or an adjunct. I would recommend them checking with the person, which in this case happens to be Candy, with the person that is responsible for building the master course that, you know, is possibly under QM focus, before they just randomly add things. You know, and I know that the chairs do not have time to review all the courses. Once I keep building on these gateway courses, I won't have all that time to do all our gateway courses every single semester. That's going to, you know, have to be broken down. But where QM is concerned, they get reviewed about every 3 years. you know, for certification, if anything major is changed, we have to go through a recertification. So as this online division grows, there probably will end up being like a full-time faculty person, quote, like chair that helps me do this. But right now we're not to there. You know, a lot of the things that you guys feared, Dr. Thomas has been very, very transparent. We're still looking at 3 other schools, kind of watching what they're doing to see if it might work for us. Not yet. We're not there yet. Okay, let me check my list. Screen examples, evaluations, I've let you know about that. Do not be afraid. And Michelle, I'm going to pick on you here because I love it. I get these nice, thoughtful emails from her with very good suggestions about how to direct this steering committee and how to, and that's where, you know, coming up with these things for quality matters and breaking them down into sections that was driven by your input, you know, how to make this easier to digest. Okay. So I'm open to you all's input, even if you're not willing to speak up on a recorded call. All right. I respect that. Change takes time. And I hope that by the time I retire, maybe at 75, I don't know, that all our gateway courses have been certified. And we're hoping to have by the end of 24, 3 of them done. Not 23, by the end of 24. So this is not a fast process, but it will be done well. Questions?
How long does the certification last? Once you finish, do you have to start all over again?
Oh, the one that I'm doing right now?
Well, when a class is certified.
Oh, it takes almost the whole term. 6 to
No,
8
I mean, is the certification forever, or do you have to redo it every so many years?
certification stays in place from what I've been able to derive an average of about 3 years. Because the school, us, make changes. You know, if we change the learning objectives or textbook or, you know, anything major, it has to undergo another review. So I'm looking at it that probably about when we come down, this is 23, when we get to 26, we're going to need to look to see if we need to do anything with our Comp 1 again.
And if, as you're making changes, if you're cognizant of keeping to that certification, Mike, and you're just making those changes in those same lines, you can just say, hey, yeah, I made changes, but we're ready to go, shoot it off.
Mhm.
You know, because of the changes in technology and things, QM recommends that 3-year cycle. But some places have shorter, we don't, or won't. Thank
Won't.
goodness.
Won't.
The big consortiums are every year. It's reviewed in-house, and then it's, you know, but and some places have a little longer, though. QM, for if you want their actual certification, it is, I think, set at 3 years or something along those
And
lines.
they're putting out a new rubric in June, which terrifies me because that means if you're a reviewer, you've got to redo your training. And oh, I'm not looking forward to that.
It's shorter and not as intensive.
Thank you. Candy was a master reviewer, which means she is our Yoda. Okay. Yeah, she's shaking her head. Well, let me believe that. All right.
She's our Doctor Who.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Are there any questions you would like me to take to Dr. Wisenhunt or Dr. Thomas about this?
No, Kathy, the only thing I wanted to kind of bring up is that because there's still some confusion, I think, with faculty of the difference between the QM and then the federal regulations for the engagement. They're still confusing those. And I think maybe having some clarification for faculty that QM is content To me, delivery is more the Fed regs because that's about the engagement and what our instructors are doing in the courses. And so maybe a little bit of clarification might help so they understand the difference between the two. I know they're both kind of online, but I think they're confusing them. I've had several conversations just this week about that.
I'm writing this down. I don't want to have to listen to the entire recording again. And that is a very good point, in that, you know, our faculty are like some of our students, in that you're asking me to do this, but why? What is the purpose? What is the goal? And I get that. You know, we're not making change for change's sake. We're making change to continuous improvement. And it's not a pass or fail thing. And Quality Matters stresses that. It's not a pass or fail. It's meeting the objectives at an 85% level. Okay. And it's not a negative, but it does take investment. And those people that are working on master courses, it is vital that they understand. And I have a number of QM workbooks. The problem with the QM, if you're sharing this, we cannot copy. There's a lot of copyright and proprietary rules we have to sign off on, in that I can't use their stuff without going through the training, and I am not allowed to change the course, copy the course, and not even make a copy of this workbook. But I do have a workbook, if you're, you know, interested, that I can share. I prefer that somebody understand the rubric before they actually use this rubric book. That's why I usually only give them out to people that, like deans, chairs, people that have gone through the training. Okay. But a lot of this information is readily accessible to you on the Quality Matters website. Okay. Like they have a nice brief little sheet that kind of outlines all the objectives and the specific objectives within each objective. Okay. So I'd be willing to share that with you. I think part of our issue, as Jennifer, you pointed out, is a misunderstanding, or people interpreting and then telling somebody, and then they interpret, and then pretty soon it's like the telephone game. It is that it's not accurate by the time it gets through 2 or 3 people. The next time we have the opportunity to have all the faculty together is a long time. So what I may do is do a little blurb and send it to the deans and the chairs and ask you to disseminate that to the people that you think it would help. Any other questions? Okay, well, I'm not just going to fill the last 20 minutes. I will give you that 20 minutes back for your coffee or your beverage or some setting up your class or whatever you may need. I appreciate you attending. I hope that this has been a good use of your time to kind of know where we are. And if you think of any questions that you need more specifics on, if I am able to answer it, I will. Dr. Thomas is going to, and he has been, and I love it, going to be more forthcoming with information to chairs, deans, and faculty as we're moving on, as he's got this leadership role with us. As he makes major, because there are some major things coming up with online that I'm not able to share at this time, but when he can share it, he will share it. All right. And nothing that you'll be upset about. Okay. All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your week and your upcoming 3-day time to yourself. Bye for now.